If you already suspect your Land Rover dealer leaves a great deal unsaid once the paperwork is signed, you have not heard the half of it. There are 15 more things they count on you never working out, and with these cars, the stakes are far higher than with any other brand. Some save you hundreds, and one could save you the entire value of the car. Number 1 is the most important thing any Land Rover buyer can learn. Let us get into it. Number 15. The cabin air filter is one of the simplest jobs on the entire car, and the dealer will happily bill it as though it were surgery. On most models, that filter sits behind the glove box, and reaching it means opening the box, releasing the stops on either side so it swings down, and sliding the old filter out of its housing. The filter itself costs very little from any decent supplier, and the job takes minutes with no tools at all. On your invoice, however, it appears as a proper service with labor attached, priced at many times what the part actually costs, and most owners simply pay it because nobody has ever shown them how straightforward it is. Nobody at the service counter is going to walk you through the 2-minute version because an owner who can do it themselves is an owner who stops paying for it. Once you have seen where it lives, you will never hand that job over again, and you will start looking at the rest of your bill with the same healthy suspicion. Replace it when it looks dirty or roughly once a year, and enjoy cleaner air and a healthier blower for a fraction of the price. It is the smallest possible win, but it sets the tone for everything else here, because almost every item on this list follows the same pattern. Something simple, something cheap, something you were perfectly capable of doing yourself, quietly repackaged as a professional service with a price tag attached and presented as though you had no alternative at all. But the next one costs owners far more than a filter ever could. Number 14. The complimentary servicing you were promised at signing covers far less than you were led to believe. It sounds generous when it is mentioned across the desk, and it is very easy to walk away with the impression that your Land Rover is looked after for the first stretch of its life at no cost to you at all. In reality, these programs typically cover only the first couple of scheduled visits, and those visits are the simplest ones there are: an oil change, an inspection, and very little else. Everything after that lands squarely on your card. More importantly, the services that genuinely determine how long one of these cars survives, the transmission fluid, the coolant, the differentials, and the transfer case, all fall outside that early window and are never included. So the free servicing covers precisely the work that matters least, while the work that actually protects the car is the work you pay full price for later. Nobody frames it that way when you are signing, because it sounds far better as a headline than it does as a breakdown. Ask specifically which services fall outside it and at what mileage they arrive so you can budget honestly instead of being ambushed in a year's time. A program that covers 2 easy visits and nothing else is a marketing line rather than a genuine benefit, and on a car with running costs like these, knowing that from the very start changes how you plan. What comes next is a column in your handbook nobody has ever shown you. Number 13. Your owner's handbook contains 2 maintenance schedules, and the dealer quoted you the easier one. Open that section and you will find one schedule for normal driving conditions and another for severe conditions, and almost nobody points out the difference. The severe schedule is not written for expedition drivers crossing deserts. It covers short trips, stop-and-go traffic, dusty roads, extreme heat or cold, towing, and heavy loads. And if you live in a town or you tow anything at all, you almost certainly qualify. That severe schedule shortens the oil interval considerably and brings forward fluid services that the normal schedule simply ignores. On a Land Rover, this matters more than on almost any other car, because these are heavy, complex, hard-working vehicles, and following the easier schedule while treating the car as a tow vehicle and a school-run bus is precisely how expensive failures begin. The dealer quotes the normal schedule because it sounds cheaper and easier to accept, not because it describes how you actually drive. Check both columns and be honest about which one is really yours, because the car does not care what the invoice says, it only responds to how it is actually used. Following the correct schedule for your real conditions is one of the cheapest and most powerful things you can do for a Land Rover, and it costs you nothing but a few minutes of reading. Up next, the most profitable myth in the entire business. Number 12. Taking your Land Rover to a good independent specialist does not void your warranty, whatever the service counter may imply. This is quite possibly the most profitable misunderstanding in the whole dealership model. Because if you believe it, you return to them for every oil change and every filter for years on end. The truth is protected in law, and in the United States, the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act makes it illegal for a manufacturer to require you to service at their dealership in order to keep your warranty valid. A qualified independent shop can change your oil, replace your brakes, and flush your fluids, and your warranty remains entirely intact, provided the work is done properly with the correct parts and fluids and you keep your receipts. A claim can only be denied if the manufacturer can prove a specific outside repair actually caused the specific failure, and that burden of proof sits with them, not with you. With Land Rovers, this matters enormously because a genuine independent specialist often knows these cars better than the dealer and charges considerably less. Keep every record, keep every receipt, and go where the expertise actually is. A tidy folder of invoices from a reputable specialist protects you completely, and it does something else too, because a fully documented history is worth real money when you sell one of these cars. And on a Land Rover, it is very often the difference between a quick sale and a car nobody will touch. What comes next explains why that price difference is so large. Number 11. The parts on your invoice carry a markup that would genuinely astonish you. This is an open secret in the trade, but it lands hard on your bill, because dealer parts pricing routinely runs at a large multiple of what the very same components cost elsewhere. We are not talking about cheap imitations either, because identical genuine parts, with the same part numbers and the same specifications, are widely available from independent suppliers and reputable retailers at a fraction of the counter price. A filter that seems eye-watering at the dealership is often modest money ordered properly, and a set of brake components quoted across the counter can cost far less through a good supplier. Multiply that across every visit over 5 or 10 years of Land Rover ownership, and the total becomes genuinely significant. It is also a large part of why independent specialists can charge so much less for exactly the same job, because they are not locked into the dealer supply chain and can source genuine parts at real market prices. On a car that needs as much attention as this one does, that single difference can change the entire economics of ownership over the years you keep it. Ask what the parts cost, and ask whether you may supply your own, because plenty of independent specialists are perfectly happy to fit parts you have sourced yourself. Just make sure you are buying the genuine item or a properly reputable equivalent, because on the components that actually matter, saving a little and losing a lot is a very poor trade indeed. Up next, a product sold to you at exactly the wrong moment. Number 10. The extended warranty pushed at you in the finance office is negotiable, and the price you were quoted was never fixed. By the time you reach that desk, you have spent hours negotiating and signing. You are mentally exhausted and you simply want the keys, which is precisely the moment the warranty appears, framed as a small addition to your monthly payment. What nobody explains is that the margin on these products is enormous, and the price you are quoted is not a cost at all. It is the maximum they believe you will accept. With a Land Rover, the emotional pressure is even greater, because you already know the brand's reputation and the fear does half the selling for them. These agreements are negotiable, sometimes very substantially, and in many cases you can buy comparable cover later from a different provider for considerably less than you were quoted across that desk. You are under no obligation whatsoever to decide on the spot, and walking away to compare costs you nothing at all. Read the exclusions rather than the coverage list, because that is where the real story lives, and pay very close attention to whether the air suspension and the electronics are genuinely included, since those are exactly what you are afraid of. Never let exhaustion make an expensive decision for you. Sleep on it, compare what is genuinely covered against what a good specialist would charge for the failures your model is realistically prone to, and only then decide. A policy that excludes wear items and anything traceable to how you drive is worth very little on a car like this. What comes next happens the moment a warning light appears. Number 9. The diagnostic fee is a revenue stream, and how it is applied varies far more than they let on. When a warning light appears and you bring the car in, the first thing that happens is a diagnostic charge simply to connect a computer and read what the vehicle is reporting. What often goes unmentioned is that this fee typically covers only the first block of diagnostic time, and if the fault needs more digging, more time is billed on top. Some dealers apply that fee toward the repair if the work is done with them, and others treat it as an entirely separate charge, but very few volunteer which policy they follow before you authorize anything. Always ask that question first, and always ask for the actual fault codes in writing before you leave. Those codes belong to you, and with them in hand you can get a second opinion from a genuine Land Rover specialist if the quoted repair feels high, and a dealer who is reluctant to write them down is telling you something worth hearing. On these cars, a single code is rarely the whole story, but knowing what the car is reporting changes the entire conversation, because you walk in with information rather than anxiety. A basic scan tool of your own costs very little and lets you see the same codes at home before you ever make the call, which alone stops you authorizing expensive work on a fault nobody has properly identified. Now, before we get into the top 8, a quick favor. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Number 8. The connected services attached to your Land Rover quietly renew, and nobody is going to remind you. When you took delivery, a package of connected features was almost certainly switched on for you, covering remote functions through an app, live traffic, vehicle tracking, and various convenience features. It feels like part of the car, because it was there from day one and nobody presented it as a separate product with a separate bill. What was not emphasized is that these services run on a trial period, and when that period ends, they renew and begin charging you, often quietly, on a card you set up long ago and have since forgotten. If you genuinely use those features every week, that may be money well spent, but many owners are paying every year for functions they have not opened since the first month. The car drives perfectly well without any of it, because none of these subscriptions affect how the vehicle actually runs, and switching them off costs you nothing mechanically. It is your money, and it should be your decision rather than a default. Check what you are actually enrolled in. Decide honestly whether you use it and cancel what you do not, because nobody at the dealership is going to volunteer that you are wasting money. Set a reminder for the day the trial ends. What comes next catches owners out in a car park. Number 7. Replacing a lost Land Rover key costs far more than you would ever guess, and the dealer is not your only option. Lose a key for an older car, and it is an irritation, but lose one for a modern Land Rover and you are looking at a serious bill, because the fob has to be supplied and then programmed to your specific vehicle. The dealer leans heavily on the impression that they are the only people who can possibly do this, and for an owner standing in a car park with one working key, that impression is usually enough. For a great many models, it simply is not true, because qualified automotive locksmiths can supply and program keys for a fraction of the dealer price, and they will often come to you. Knowing that before you find yourself in that position is exactly what saves you the money and the ruined afternoon. There is also one habit nobody hands you at delivery, which is to keep your spare key somewhere genuinely safe and never in the same bag as the first. Because the moment you are down to one key, the dealer becomes your only convenient option and they know it perfectly well. A spare kept somewhere sensible turns an expensive emergency into a mild inconvenience. Up next, the way your labor bill is actually calculated. Number 6. You are billed for book time, not for the time your repair actually takes. When a dealer quotes labor, that figure almost always comes from a flat rate manual, an industry book that assigns a set number of hours to every conceivable job. If the book says a repair takes 6 hours, you pay for 6 hours, even when an experienced technician who has done it many times finishes it in rather less. The justification is that it evens out between the awkward jobs and the easy ones, and there is some truth in that, but the book times are generous and the dealer labor rate is already among the highest you will find. On a Land Rover, where jobs can involve serious dismantling and where reaching a component can take longer than replacing it, those hours add up terrifyingly fast. And the difference between a fair quote and a painful one is often measured in labor rather than parts. A good independent specialist usually charges a considerably lower hourly rate and quotes more honest time. And that combination of a lower rate applied to fewer hours is exactly why the same repair can produce two wildly different invoices. Ask how the labor was calculated and watch how the conversation changes. It is a fair question, and the answer tells you a great deal about who you are dealing with. What comes next is a document written specifically about your car's known faults. Number 5. There are documented factory fixes for known problems, and the dealer has no obligation whatsoever to mention them. Everybody understands what a recall is, but far fewer owners have heard of a technical service bulletin, and with Land Rovers, that gap costs people serious money. These are documents the manufacturer issues to its dealers describing a known problem on specific models along with the official approved repair for it. They are not recalls, so nobody is required to contact you, and they will never appear in your letterbox. If your car develops one of the quirks these vehicles are known for, there may already be an approved fix sitting on file. And in some cases, the manufacturer will contribute toward the cost as a gesture on a known defect, particularly if you are only just outside warranty. The catch is that you very often have to know the bulletin exists and raise it yourself. Walk in unaware and you will simply pay full retail for a problem the factory already acknowledged and solved, which is a genuinely galling way to spend money on a car that was never quite right in the first place. Do your homework on your exact model and year, and mention what you find. Owner communities are extremely good at surfacing these patterns, and walking in informed changes how seriously you are taken. Up next, a fund that only helps the owners who ask. Number 4. There is a Goodwill budget for repairs, and it quietly helps the owners who know to ask for it. Beyond the formal warranty, manufacturers keep what is usually called a Goodwill or policy adjustment fund, and it exists precisely to cover repairs on cars that are technically out of warranty but have failed in a way that clearly should not have happened. Perhaps the car has only just passed the cutoff, or perhaps the failure is a known weak point that the factory is entirely aware of. And with Land Rovers, there is no shortage of those. The catch is that nobody ever offers it, because the service advisor will simply quote the full retail repair and wait to see whether you pay. Owners who stay calm and polite point clearly to the known issue, ask directly for Goodwill assistance, and escalate to the service manager or the manufacturer's customer line when necessary. Receive meaningful help far more often than most people would believe. A documented service history strengthens your case enormously, even when some of that work was done independently. Use the actual words Goodwill or policy assistance, because those are the terms the people on the other end recognize. The dealership counts on you not knowing, and a calm, specific request beats an angry one every single time. What comes next reframes everything in your handbook. Number 3. The factory maintenance schedule is the minimum, not the recommendation. And on a Land Rover, that distinction is worth an absolute fortune. This is the idea that ties almost everything else together, because most owners treat the schedule in the handbook as a description of optimal care when it is nothing of the sort. It is the bare minimum required to keep the car healthy through its warranty period while keeping the published running costs as low as possible. And manufacturers compete openly on cost of ownership figures, which look far better when the scheduled servicing is sparse. Every experienced specialist will tell you the factory schedule is where they start, not where they stop. The fluid services it delays or ignores entirely are exactly the ones that decide whether one of these cars reaches a big mileage or dies young, and that is no accident. Servicing a Land Rover a little more often than the book demands is one of the cheapest forms of insurance available to you, and on a car this complex, it is the single habit that separates the survivors from the horror stories. The schedule tells you the minimum the car can survive on, and a Land Rover deserves rather more than the minimum. And that leads to the two things that matter most of all. Number 2. The air suspension is not automatically a 4-figure disaster, and the dealer has no reason to tell you otherwise. Air suspension is the thing everybody fears about these cars, and it is the reason so many people talk themselves out of Land Rover ownership entirely. But the picture is far more nuanced than the horror stories suggest. When something fails, the dealer's instinct is very often to replace complete units, because that is quick, it is guaranteed, and it is extremely profitable, and you are quoted a number that confirms every fear you ever had about the brand. A genuine specialist, on the other hand, will diagnose properly and frequently find that the actual fault is something far more contained: a leaking air line, a tired compressor, a failing valve block, or a single corroded connection. And repairing that specific component is a completely different proposition. Good quality replacement air springs are also widely available at sensible prices from reputable suppliers, and a specialist can fit them for a fraction of what the dealership will quote. Find somebody who actually knows this system, and the single scariest thing about owning a Land Rover becomes genuinely manageable and often no more expensive than the suspension on any other big, heavy vehicle. And that brings us to the most important thing of all. Number 1. The most important thing your dealer will never tell you is that the specific engine in the car you are looking at decides everything, and no salesperson is going to volunteer which one you are about to buy. This is the single piece of knowledge that separates the owners who love these cars from the owners who are financially destroyed by them. And it applies most sharply when you are buying used, which is when almost nobody is looking out for you. The engines in these vehicles are not equal, and the differences are not academic, because some are genuinely robust and well understood, while others carry known, documented weaknesses that can end the car entirely. The earlier 3-liter diesels carry a well-known fear of crankshaft failure, which is sudden, total, and final, and turns a bargain into a scrap car in one moment. The small Ingenium diesels have a documented reputation for timing chain problems made worse by oil dilution on short journeys. The larger V8 diesel hides its timing chains at the back of the engine, where reaching them turns a routine job into an enormous one. None of this is secret, and a genuine specialist knows all of it, but the person selling you the car has absolutely no incentive to raise any of it. So you research the exact engine, the exact year, and the exact known weaknesses before you even look at a car, and then you pay a proper Land Rover specialist to inspect it, and you treat that inspection as non-negotiable rather than an optional extra. Get that right, and these are magnificent cars you can genuinely love. Get it wrong, and no amount of careful ownership will save you, because you cannot maintain your way out of the wrong engine. The engine you choose takes number 1, and it earned every single inch of that spot.